Hi guys, something I'll never understand is how Donald Trump and members of his administration will insult Europe and the UK, but on things that they either don't understand, do so out of malice, or in an ironic way. But politicians on this side of the pond are expected to kiss the US president's ring. We all know Trump's relationship with the truth is very much like Boris Johnson's, but some politicians seem to think that we must still pretend that he's a serious individual. Here Labour MP Jon Pearce believes Trump is a pacifist. Have a listen to this.
President Trump is a pacifist. He has no interest in overseas wars. He's a deal maker. If it got to the stage, and I don't think it will, I think a deal will be done. But if it got to the stage that President Trump was saying that they were going to attack Iran and they were going to use the bunker busting bombs and they needed our support, it would be in the UK's national interest for that to be a successful mission.
Okay. But that's not a pacifist. You don't get to say Donald Trump is a pacifist, but when he goes to war, we will support him. That's not what a pacifist does. Do you actually understand what a pacifist is? And obviously Donald Trump is not a pacifist. I'll get to why that's the case in just a moment. But you can try and make the argument that Donald Trump is against wars. Well, certain wars. Because when he's not in charge, it's a bad war. But if he is in charge, obviously it's a good war, like the economy. When Donald Trump's in charge of the economy, it's a good economy. When somebody else is in charge, it's a bad economy. So I do think he's also latched onto this anti-war feeling within the Republican Party, this, no, we don't need to get involved in other wars. But once again, the problem with MAGA is they will support a position, then as soon as Donald Trump flips on it, then they will support it as well. So I don't buy into, for 1 second, the vast majority of MAGA would be against Donald Trump if he goes to war with Iran. He'll say, we're going to war with Iran, I've decided, and the vast majority of MAGA will go, yeah, that's good. If Donald Trump says it's a good idea, well, that's good enough for me. These people don't have principles. There are a few marginal MAGA people who will be against this, but I think the vast majority will just roll in behind Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is not a pacifist. Yes, he hasn't engaged in massive wars like the war in Iraq, Gulf War I or Gulf War II. No, he hasn't engaged in stuff like that. But he has engaged in conflicts. He has sent US troops into dangerous situations. For example, he ordered a missile strike in 2017. He was elected in 2016, the last time. In the very first year of his presidency, he engaged in armed conflict. He sent missiles to attack bases in Syria. He attacked Yemen in 2017. In 2017 also, in Afghanistan, he dropped the mother of all bombs, targeting ISIS, I believe. This is not a pacifist. He also engaged in operations in Iraq and Syria in 2019 and also in Iran in 2020. He authorized a drone strike against an Iranian general. So Donald Trump is not a pacifist. These are not the actions of a pacifist. But this idea that the UK should support the US no matter what reminds me of 2003. Will the UK be the US's poodle? Will it actually stand up and say, no, this war has no proper backing. There's no evidence being presented that Iran has weapons of mass destruction, in the same way as there was no real evidence presented that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. If you were to engage in a war with Iran, what is the end result? What happens if the government collapses? Do you have a plan in place? Or is it going to be like Iraq once again? But this idea that Donald Trump is a pacifist, I really don't understand where this came from. Is it just people believed it? The media pushed it, and then politicians just regurgitated it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.